Evening, and then Sati, Shiva and Daksha, Lord Pashupati and Saptarishis yesterday. And then this morning a two-part presentation, the first focusing on Kurukshetra and the second more on King Kuru. We have 8 more topics to go before the retreat concludes. So Maharaj has spent enormous effort in assembling all of this information. So this review is for the first 6 topics, and we'll have a similar session tomorrow and day after at this same time for 4 topics each. For those of you who have participated in a similar retreat, a session facilitated by Yamuna Jivan Prabhu in a previous retreat, we will have a little trivia quiz, nothing to get stressed about. There will be no genealogical tables or anything that you will be tested on. Just to remind us of some of the fun facts, 6 topics, 20 questions per topic, 120 questions. No, I'm kidding. It's only 3 questions per topic. So we'll be done in about 10 minutes or less. And then we will self-organize into groups, maybe 3, 4, 5, we'll see. We'll split up. And then each group will have a theme that I will give you as a printout. And you can choose to huddle outside or in the dining area or even a couple of groups here. And then we'll decide what time everybody comes back, have a little sharing, and then off for lunch prasadam. Sounds good, Haribol? All right. We do really need lunch prasadam. Haribol. Haribol. Okay. Yes. So the quiz time. If you know the answer, just raise your hand. I will call upon you. Please no shouting out. There will be millions in prizes that will be handed out at the end of this quiz. Okay, so first topic. Which personality performed Bhakti Yoga in Haridwar and ultimately went to Vaikuntha in a golden Viman? Raise your hand if you know. Okay. Okay, so Mataji got it right. The answer is Ajamila. Dhruva Maharaj also went in a Viman, but not quite fits the rest of these criteria. I will let everyone read the answers. This is another question about Sapta Sarovar, Sapta Shrota. Why did the river Ganges divide herself into 7 streams? Again, please only raise your hand if you think you know the answer. Okay to guess. 1 hand raised. Please only respond when I call on you. Okay. Yes, Prabhu, you can please continue with your activities. Okay, this time I will call on people randomly, not necessarily in the order in which the hands were raised. Mataji? Yes, you had raised your hand. D, to avoid disturbing the meditation of the Saptarishis. That is the correct answer. And number 3 of 3 for this topic. Which of these personalities performed Agnihotra and left his body by yogic powers? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there are more. Yes, Mataji. Sorry? Yes, Dhritarashtra. That is correct. Switching gears, topic number 2. Sati, Shiva and Daksha. I'm expecting more hands to be raised from the kids. These are the easiest questions ever in this topic. Why was Daksha displeased with Lord Shiva in the assembly? Okay, people who identify as kids also welcome. Okay, Mataji in the back. B, Shiva did not stand up to receive Daksha. That is correct. And what did Sati do after she felt insulted at not having been received properly when she went to the sacrifice? Yes, sir. Can you read it out? Yes, gave up her body through meditation. She meditated on the fiery elements in particular, and through the intense concentration, she gave up her body in fire. And third of three for this topic, which form of Shiva destroyed Daksha's sacrifice and many other things? Prabhu, please do not shout out the answer. But since you have, we'll consider you as having answered. It is C, Virabhadra. Aren't these easy? Yes. The Pashupatinath deity is especially connected with which form of Shiva? I will give it to the waving hand and I will come back to the non-waving hands in a later question. Yes. Sorry? Yes, it is C, Lord of the animals. Pashu means animals. More broadly, it means of all living entities, but the literal translation is animals. Just for information, the first one, who knows the Sanskrit? Lord, who is half woman. It's okay to shout out this one. No, there's a name of Lord Shiva which literally translates to, one translation could be the Lord is half woman. Ardhanarishwara, that's one name. The Lord of Dance, Nataraj, and D, destroyer of the three cities. Someone had asked a question about it in the discussion. Yeah, Tripurari, Tripura, Antaka, different names. Thank you. Okay, we heard this very interesting story about the fight between Arjuna and Lord Shiva, who was disguised as a hunter. Why did they start fighting? Okay, I saw a young person. Read it out. Yes, the answer is B. Both claimed the right to the wild boar they had shot it kind of simultaneously, and then the fight started about who does it belong to. Okay, this one was only on one slide. According to Sridhara Swami, Lord Shiva is well known to have received knowledge from which personality? Mataji. D. Angira, that is correct. Yes, and your thinking was correct. Topic 4 of 6 in the current Manvantara. This everybody should know, right? Immediately. Who is our Manu? Yes, please remember to raise your hands. Yes. D. Vaivasvata Manu. Bonus points, anybody who can name all the Manus from the first one to the seventh one? Maybe next time. I can't name them either, just to be clear. Anybody knows number 4? Narsimha appeared. There are many incarnations. Swayambhuva Manu was the first one. Not a lot of exciting things seems to happen in 2 and 3. 4. Chakshusha Manu. That was one of the previous ones. Okay. Who among the following is one of the Saptarishis of the current Manvantara? Hint, when we went through all the biographies and the pastimes of the personalities, if any of these names rings a bell. Yes, it's Kashyapa Muni. Okay, I'll give you time to read and digest this one. Which of the following is not a service of the Saptarishis? We have one hand so far. 2, 3. So 3 of these is the service, 1 is not, at least that we know of. 4. No shouting out, please. Okay. Mataji, you raised your hand. Sorry, I want to make sure. C, yes. C is correct. A, B, and D are part of their duties, listed duties that we know of. C is not. Okay, coming to this morning, this should be relatively fresh in memory if you have attended today. This one might be a little bit tricky. What is one of the names of Kurukshetra? I will preferably not call on people who have answered before unless only hands raised are those who have answered before. Yes, Mataji. What did you say? C? No, that is not the answer. Now the choices have narrowed down. Yes, yes, Prabhu. B. Brahma Kshetra, that is correct. Which tree? -1 for whoever shouts out. Mataji? Yeah, you can answer. Yes, as long as you're agreeing on the answer. Yes, the answer is the banyan tree. A slide? It was in the slides. Now we know. Yes, they were not standing in the sun for the conversation. Okay, this one. All hands should be raised at this point. After finishing the reading, every hand should be up. I'll just wait for all hands to be up. Even if you don't know, please just raise your hand. Okay, who hasn't answered? Okay, the young person behind the slightly less younger person. Yes. Yes. What's the correct answer? C. That is correct. Round of applause. And this is the session that we just ended. Actually, some of this was covered in the morning, so it's split across the two. What did King Kuru use to make his plow when he cultivated? Please only raise your hands. Yes. See gold from his chariot, that is correct. 2 more questions remaining till then we break out. Gold from his chariot. So he took a golden chariot and then used the gold to make the plow. Which 2 animals did King Kuru borrow? So many choices. Are any of them correct? Or is it a trick question? Okay, Prabhu, with the mic. You have the mic.
B. Shiva's bull and Yamaraja's buffalo.
Yes, the answer is B. Lord Shiva's bull and Yamaraj's buffalo. So at least during the plowing, probably death was suspended. No buffalo. That was not in the presentation. That's my observation. Yes. But some of it was in the morning. So I think it was references to Kuru and Kurukshetra were split across 2 sessions. Okay, last question. This should have been very fresh. We also had a discussion. What was one of the 2 boons King Kuru asked for Indra and Vishnu? Actually, this isn't quite right. Let's just focus on the Indra part. Kalpatru Mataji. C. Yes, and I think while it's not quite correct, is Indra said heaven and then he asked Lord Vishnu for liberation. And in the boon from Indra in the morning, there was a clause which said that only if someone dies during penance or during fighting. But it's a pretty broad boon. We also heard that anyone who gets the dust off the place is also good. So, okay. So now, let us do some group reflections. We'll just go through the themes. Let's see, how do you want to divide up the groups? If you have any preferences for, I think Mataji's want to be, raise your hand if you plan to participate, because some of you may have surveys or go early, but please raise your hand if you plan to stay through till 1, so accordingly we'll get a good head count. Okay, so I'm thinking, how about how about the Matajis please self-organize into two groups, right? Just we are not naming any spiritual leader of each group. You can, facilitate the discussion. So organize into two groups. Prabhus, I'm thinking one might be enough, right? If you look at the, okay. Or if you want, let's do one or two. You decide, okay? So two groups for Matajis, one group for the Prabhus. I'll give you a very quick overview of the themes, right? Don't get attached to the themes, will be randomly assigned. The first one is about the transformative power of the Dham. The good news is you don't need an extensive recall of facts and figures for the reflection session. And what's the reflect on how all these sacred spaces shape our spiritual consciousness, right? There is a certain different feeling you get. And every group will have a printed copy. So you are free to take a picture, but you will get a printout. And then think of your place in your own life which is more conducive for your spiritual reflection, and why does that place feel transformative, and then how can you carry that through in your daily environment. So again, a very quick review, and then you can read it in more detail. I think because we have, how many did we decide for the Prabhus? One or two? One. Okay, so we have two. So let's just do 1, 3, and 4 title. So the second theme is austerity on the path of bhakti. We have had enough examples of lot of personalities doing austerities of various sorts. So think about how that applies to modern life. What austerities can we adopt? What is doable? How it might help. Again, you'll get a printout of this. And then the third theme is divine providence and what we can call spiritual destiny. Right? We have examples of Vidura happening to meet Maitreya in Haridwar, and that constituting a bulk of the Bhagavad Puran, that conversation. Maharaj Parikshit being protected, choice of Kurukshetra for the speaking of Bhagavad Gita, and so on. It almost things coming to a very nice conclusion at the end through Krishna's intervention. And then personal application, it's there, like reflect on this, how it might have shown up in your life, and how you can go through daily life having faith that things are headed in the right direction. So what we will do, one person from each group can come and pick up your printed sheet. These are some general guidelines, right? Leave some room for quieter voices. We do need facilitation. Elect your own leaders. Listen with your heart. Listen attentively, sincerely. Stay on theme. And speak with respect and compassion. What we will do is, it's about 25. How about we come back at 12:50? That will leave us 10 minutes plus a few for the reflection. So we'll come back, have one designated speaker from your group. They will come and share for a 2 or 3 minutes some things that was specially highlighted or your groups wants to share. Okay? What is you're attached to the theme? I was going to randomly assign it. Okay, so I need one person from the Prabhu's group and two to come and pick up the printouts. That will help. I need two leaders. One group is good? Okay. Mataji, you want to? I'll just give. Tremendous spiritual benefit. We are in discussions. We are in discussions with Lord Vishnu as we speak. That is the same one. Which one? You want austerity? Okay, austerity and this is the. So we'll be back at 12:50. I will remind.
Hare Krishna.
Let's maybe in the next minute. It's wonderful to see the nature of discussion. I don't want to be responsible from keeping you from prasadam, so you can go on longer if you wish. But let's maybe another minute or so. Please send the designated speaker to summarize what you discussed. The dedicated group. Okay, so let me do this. It's around 12:52 or 53. Whenever each group is ready, send your person at your own convenience. I am in no hurry. Hare Krishna, we have a report from the Prabhu's group. After that, you can continue the discussion. Yes. So, so we have a wonderful situation here where neither group is in a hurry to end the discussion, which is a very, very good sign. Just saying. So we'll ask the Prabhus to summarize. We have group 1 of 2. Please state your topic. Shall I get the?
Oh, that'll help.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Hare Krishna. So our topic was, or our theme was austerity in the path of bhakti. And we had a very nice discussion. And I was totally blown by the way the perspective changed from austerity to love. And I'm going to probably read out some points that we all discussed together as a group. One of the first questions or the reflection was, what is the role of austerity in modern spiritual practice? And something that we succinctly came to a conclusion was, and these are variegated answers. One was, isn't the 4 regulative principles enough austerity already? Because the 4 regulative principles in the modern world, if we can practice them, given the circumstances and the situation around us, if we can practice it successfully, that by itself is modern austerity. Someone else added saying, austerity is giving up sense gratification and even choosing to be here for this retreat, participating over here. Even that is austerity, to say, no, I won't choose to enjoy my senses outside. Rather, I would be in a more meditative state. I would be in the association of devotees. That by itself is austerity. We were discussing some of the personal applications of austerity, and something that the prompts were, what are some things that would meaningfully improve our inner clarity, and what obstacles stop you from embracing that austerity, and how can devotees routinely how can the devotees you routinely associate with support you? And for that, one of the devotees was few of them were very inspired by Kuru, how he was able to give up his body. His body was cut into pieces. And someone also brought up the example of parenting. And then that's where that perspective started changing, because what we see as somebody else's austerity is actually a form of love towards Krishna. Parenting can be an austerity. Others, from people outside, can see it as austerity, but the person who's performing might experience it as love. And that's when Vamsidhari Prabhu, he gave this very nice point. He said, sorry, I'm just searching for it. Yes, to bring discipline that allows us to focus our attention on Krishna, because even austerity can be in the 3 modes. And unless we use austerity to develop bhakti, it's not going to be fully beneficial. So we somehow came to the point where we were able to superimpose austerity and love, and just see it as different ways of practicing bhakti, so that we can build our faith towards Krishna. So that's what I had to share. The last question was pretty, the last prompt was, how can the devotees you routinely associate with support you? And one of the best answers I heard was, yeah, there are devotees around me who can help me. You know, some of our, some of us men, we forget that, oh, we can ask for help. So that was a point of inspiration for some to take home and look out and find out who they can seek help from. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful summary. Now we await the designated representative of the other group.
Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Our topic was the significance of Dham, the transformative power of the Dhamma, reflection and personal application. So we went through reflections, and then we went round table and some of the personal applications. So in our reflections, everybody said most of the their own personal experiences. The saintly environment is very uplifting. The atmosphere, when we go there, it reminds us about the pastimes of great devotees, even the Lord Himself. So that it helps us to go with the smriti factor of bhakti. So that is another point. Then when Krishna was born in took birth in Vrindavan, he ran everywhere, he touched everywhere. So like that place is very, very potent. And when we go there, we feel that he is here and I'm here now. Like that connection was there. Then these pastimes influence our mood when we go to Dhamma. Then we have, when we go to Dhamma without a sadhu and with sadhu, there is a huge difference, what we discussed about. So when we go with Maharaj and any other sadhus, right, then, there is that connection, because every morning, afternoon, evening, we are discussing about the topics, thinking about it, visiting it, reminiscing, reflecting. When we go without sadhu, there is that lack of, there is a space. We are just, for recreational purposes, not much effective. So that's another point. So somebody said that as per Shastra, it will become the pilgrimage for crows. So, so personal application wise, everybody, the gist is that association of sadhus, meaning not just sadhus, but sadhu sangha. That association was more prominent in any dham visit for everybody that we in our group. So everybody discussed that without that association brings back the memories. And when we come back to our places, we discuss about that day, we discuss about those moments. And again, we will go back to that place in dham when we do the discussions. And so the places, some of the devotees in our group came from Karna Prayaga. So she was born and brought up in that location. So it helped her to take up Krishna consciousness very easily. And not much exposure to artificial materialistic lifestyle. So it was easy for her to take up Krishna consciousness easily. And another Mataji was, she also grew up in Mathura. But when she was in Mathura, she is not aware of any of the spiritual aspect of it. But when she came to ISKCON, especially ISKCON, the Sangha, helped her to bring back the glory of Mathura. And now she feels that gratitude, or like she has some debt to do some service towards Mathura. So that was another experience she was sharing about. So for some devotees, it was their home in front of the altar where they are doing chanting. And for some, it is every Friday evening Bhakti Riksha. And for some, it is retreats, regularly attending retreats and remembering the Lord, like connecting and enjoying the memories that we make with the Sangha. So that was a brief So for one Mataji said that she started doing 16 rounds of chanting after visiting Vrindavan. So that was the effect of Dham. Japa retreats, Ayodhya Yatra with Guru Maharaj. And there were very, very significant events in their lives. So Bhakti Riksha kept them charged. People, Sangha kept them charged. They helped them to become attracted to Krishna. So, one Mataji said in Mayapur she was in the Rath Yatra from Rajapur Jagannath Rath Yatra, and in that yatra she came right in front of Jagannath while they were dancing with the deity in front of Jagannath and Baladev, because they are big deities and the eyes were like too close to her, and nobody else noticed it. So when we go to Dham and we see these Herculean tasks some devotees are able to do, carrying Jagannath and then dancing, which was not normal, right? It's a Herculean task and we feel like wow, that wow stays in our heart, and that wow inspires us. How a devotee of 90 years old can do painting at that age. Can I do, when I become 90, can I do that kind of service? Do I have that energy or not? So the inspiration comes from so many different places, and Dham has a very significant effect on it. And especially Dham with the Sangha is the most effective, is what we conclude finally. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Really appreciated everyone ignoring the time boundaries. Now you can proceed to a very richly deserved lunch, prasadam.
So, but want to express my gratitude how much Maharaj played a role in our lives to take us to these places, and because of that, we are able to connect to Krishna. So, thank you for bringing this theme and making us ponder on those.
Thank you. Since I have a captive audience, just a reminder that Mataji needs help in this temple kitchen for vegetable cutting. Whoever is inclined from 2 to 2:30, just show up there, and then we'll see you at 2:30 for the next class. Hare Krishna. Yes, yes.